guest, Renee. I help people to become more likable, marketable, and credible. And I'm talking with one of my former clients today, Mona Andre. And Mona Andre is a author, writer, ghost writer. She was named the 100 top humor bloggers at some point. Actually, when I met her, she had actually had that honor. She's also an award-winning copywriter. So welcome, Mona. Good to see you.
Hey there, nice to see you. Always nice to see you.
Absolutely. So let's start with the fact that you were named one of the top 100 bloggers. There's probably a lot of people out there who are trying to debate, shall I become a blogger? Shall I write a book? Because they want to be known. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to write. Right? So there's some element of, I have something to offer the world and I don't know what platform to use. So let's start there. What's your advice on that? And I'd like to first start, what is your experience in terms of being a blogger? How did you become named one of the top 100 bloggers? And then what's the difference in blogging and becoming an author?
Okay, well, a lot of questions. Okay.
Right? Yeah.
So, well, I started blogging as a way to write, really. It's, I have a hamster that never stops turning, and I write for magazines, I write for clients, but I wanted a place or a platform, I guess, where I could write with no rules. So that's why I started the blog. There's no, it's whatever is going on in here, I have a place to put it out there. How did I become a top 100 blogger? I don't know. You never know who's reading, right? You never know. So how it happened is I received an email one day from an editor of a magazine saying, hey, I love your blog, and I just wanted to let you know that we're adding you to our list this year of our top 100 bloggers. And I was humbled and surprised and flattered and all those things. And it just, I guess it just grew from there. So the difference between if you want to write a book or a blog, they're completely different things. You write for online in one way, short paragraphs, as opposed to writing a book, it's longer paragraphs. I would recommend anybody to start a blog because it's a way to practice writing. The more that you write, the better that you get. It's a way to share who you are and your message, and it's a way to keep you accountable too.
Yeah. So thank you for answering all three questions. I know that was a lot. One of the things, Mona, though, I think I know for myself and probably a lot of other people, when you get started, you question yourself. You're asking yourself, well, who's going to read my blog? Why will they read my blog? And am I really wasting my time? Because a lot of times on the internet, you're not getting a response, right? You don't necessarily get 100 people come to your blog immediately. So how did you overcome that feeling, if you ever had it, that nobody's really reading or listening?
You have to do it for the right reasons. You have to write or blog because you love blogging. You have to, I guess, you're always going to question yourself. I'm sure that Stephen King questions himself, because you're putting yourself out there, right? So you have to, like I said, you have to do it for the right reasons. You have to do it because you love it, and you have to kind of take what other people think out of your mind. I'm going to give you a good example. Several years ago, I wrote a blog post that went mini viral, I'll say, and it was about so there was this woman who she had just had a baby, and she posted a picture of her body, and she was slim, and oh my God, the hate posts that she got from that. So, and that kind of for lack of a better term, pissed me off, because it's like, why are women backstabbing other women? So I wrote this blog, and a blogger friend of mine sent me a message saying, I wish I had written that piece. If I can give you one piece of advice, change the title so that it goes out there more, because the title was supposed to be, it was like, at the time I was doing Wordless Wednesdays. So the title was something like, it's supposed to be Wordless Wednesday, but no, or I forget now exactly, but there was nothing about what it was about. And I just went on to this thing, and so a lot of people agreed with it. And I refused to change the title because I hadn't written it for it to go out there. I read it because that's how I felt at the time. And yeah, so again, back to the no rules. The blog was about no rules. Did that answer your question? I went off on a tangent there.
Yeah, so let me tell you what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is that because people were attacking someone else and you came to her defense and expressed your authentic belief that we should not be attacking one another, but accepting one another. As a result of you really just being authentically you, people kind of latched onto that energy, the energy of authenticity. Not so much sitting down and thinking about, well, maybe if I do this, then people will do this, or, oh, well, if I do this, then I'll get this. Not focusing on what you'll get, but focusing on who you are and
Yes.
being that. And
Yes,
that's
exactly.
how success comes.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good advice. Thank you. Thank you for that. So I want to talk a little bit about, I have this book, With Love Comes Hope. And I know that you were asked to be a part of that. It's a book written, people from all over the world, actually, Haiti, India, Australia, Italy, Japan, Canada is where you are. And you committed a story. By the way, I read it. I purchased it because of you, obviously. And I read your story. Totally phenomenal. I'll tell you what I like about your writing style is that you take the reader with you. So I was with you and your besties, right? I was there, leaving the airport, getting in the Uber car, wondering what the heck is going on. The pandemic is here, but why are you with a mask on? Like, what's going on? Like, being disconnected from the pandemic, even though you're in it because it had just started. Like, I totally could relate to what you were saying, and you just took me with you. So kudos to you for your writing style. Also, I want to mention why I'm talking about you. You have so many book projects going on. You have SuperWoman, a funny and reflective look at single motherhood that's going to be coming out. I've also ordered my pre-copy of that book as well. But I want to talk a little bit about the writing process. So many people want to write a book, but if they are like me, back when I wrote my first book, I didn't think anybody would read it, and I didn't, it took me 10 years to write it because I just was like, who's going to read my book? Who's going to buy my book? So for those people who are out there thinking the same thing, what advice would you give them?
So yes, that's actually a good misconception, is that people think, well, what do I have to say? Everything's already been said. But really, nothing has been said the way that you can say it. So your story is always going to be unique because it's your story. And the people that are going to, so you could say one thing and I could say the same thing, but some people are going to resonate with the way that you say it because they can connect with you. They can connect with your voice. They connect with your story, as they might not connect with me. So I say, write your book. If you want to write a book, write a book. Write it. Everybody's got a story.
Yeah. So, but most people are thinking, but who's going to buy it and how, write a book. So let me ask you this. So if I'm going to write a book, I don't have to have a purpose for writing it?
No, absolutely. You should have a purpose for writing it, or a story to tell, or a message to share. Definitely. And always remember that what's going to make it interesting is stories. Don't preach. Tell a story. Tell a story.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me a little bit about the pros and cons of writing. There's yeah, tell me the pros and cons. What's the value proposition of me writing a book versus the time commitment and what is required to write a book?
Right. Okay. So it depends what your purpose is. Some people want to write a book just because they love writing. And some people write a book because it'll help them position themselves. So they can be a coach, they can be a dentist. Actually, I was listening to a podcast recently about a dentist that wrote a book called, I think it was called The $1 Million Smile. And the person in the interview was saying, I went to that dentist just because he wrote a book. You know what I mean? So it positions you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the pros and cons. The cons of writing a book, I don't think there are any cons. I mean, yes, it's an investment of time and energy, but at the end, it's so worth it. You have something. You have a legacy. You have you're going to touch somebody with your words, your story, your message. So I don't think there are cons. And if I posted this on LinkedIn actually, I think yesterday, about how, you know, the investment of time and effort can be scary. It could take 4 months, it could take a year, it could take 5 years to write your book, but you're going to do those next 4 months, a year, 5 years of your life anyway. So why not spend some of that time on something that at the end you can look back and go, wow, I did that. And who cares if no one buys it? You did it.
Yeah, yeah. So, as you know, I'm a 6-time writer, and I shared it took me about 10 years to write my first book, and the Dummies book took about, let's see, I think they gave us, because that's a co-write, they gave us, I think we signed in like October, and we were done by October. I'm trying to, no, July. That was maybe about 6 months. And then, and don't quote me on that because I'm not quite sure. And then my next book deal was more like we signed in November. It had to be done by like February. And then the last book I wrote was maybe about six or 7 weeks, right? Okay. So tell me a little bit about the writing process. If I'm just new to writing, tell me what people can expect to experience if they really want to become an author.
So everything that you write is going to be crap. That writing is rewriting. So you're going to write draft 1 and you're going to set it aside, and then the next day, it's got to be a daily thing. You're going to go back to it and you're going to be like, but now you don't have a blank screen or a blank piece of paper. You have something to start with. So that's where, so definitely you're going to hate the first thing that you write. Another thing that you can experience or expect to experience is that the more you do it, the better you get. And there's going to be moments where you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited about this one sentence or this one paragraph. Oh, I love the way I started that. And then you're going to have other days where you're going to be like, I'm not feeling it. You always have to push through. So maybe the first 10 minutes, you're like, you know, checking your phone every 13 seconds and, I'll play Scrabble instead. But if you push through it, you'll get into a flow.
Yeah. And what about the getting up and sleep, the getting up in the middle of the night and writing? Do you have that same challenge as well? Like, oh my God, I feel like I have to write and I can't. And you go to sleep and you wake up at 3 o'clock and you have all these ideas. Do you experience that as well?
Definitely. When I'm working on something, it consumes me. So I'll lie in bed and the hamster will kind of wake me up, and I'll get up and I'll be writing notes. And then of course the ideas will feed each other, and then it's like, okay, fine, I'll get up and I'll start writing now. That's why there's things like on Twitter, there's the hashtag 5 a.m. Writers Club, which is really kind of an accountability, but yay, we're from all over the world. You'll see the different time zones. So you can get up and you can go, hey, I'm here checking in, or, who brought the donuts? It's Friday. And it's kind of a fun way to connect with other writers and also keep yourself accountable too.
Yeah. That's actually phenomenal, because I get that whole accountability piece. You know, once you put yourself out there, you want to meet those markers, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, there are people who may not really want to write a book, but they want to, their name on a book, right? So they
Yep.
would hire somebody to write the book for them. Tell us a little bit about that process. What that
So
looks like. Mhm.
I just finished a book, writing a book for two industry influencers. So the book is basically their idea. So what I did with that is I would have weekly calls with them and record the calls, and I would just let them talk. So whatever the subject for the title, or sorry, the chapter was, they would just talk out their thoughts. So the book is based on their ideas and their, you know, they're professionals at what they do, and they really are thought leaders, but they just didn't have the time or perhaps the inclination to invest the time to write the book themselves. So I did it, but it's all based on their thoughts, their ideas, their innovations.
Yeah. Very nice. So, and you don't have to give us your exact pricing, because I think that every book project is different. Because I know even in book deals that I've signed are very different. The contractual setup is different, etc. But if you, for a person that's saying, "Hey, I want to hire you," what is the minimal? Where is the starting point for people? Just the starting point that they need to collect their pennies and start out.
You mean to work with a ghostwriter as an example?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so well, what I do is it depends on the, I guess, the subject matter, and also, is it fiction? Is it nonfiction? That's a big one, actually.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so what I do is I figure out how long do you want it? Do you want it out in 4 months? Do you want it out in a year? And then I do a monthly breakdown.
Okay.
So I don't know if that helps or
Okay, yeah. So what I hear you say is that, you know, based on the client's needs in terms of how much time do I have to write it? What is going to be the content? How familiar I am with your subject matter, but also most important, how familiar you are with your subject matter. If it's nonfiction, do you know the characters, where they want to go, what it's going to look like? So it's such a wide range until it has to be individualized in terms of putting together a contract.
Exactly.
Okay, makes perfect sense. So tell me this. You and I worked together for, I think, about 6 months doing one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your biggest struggle that you were having before we met, and tell us what the process was like, the coaching process was like, and what was the most important thing you learned?
So my biggest struggle at the time, and still, and probably forever, was, but at that point, was self-confidence. I knew that I wanted more. I was writing as for a company, actually, and I wanted more. I wanted to take my career, my writing career, to another level, but I didn't have the confidence. So what attracted me to you is that that's what you do, right? You have this way of pinpointing a struggle or a challenge and bringing it to light. So that's what I really loved about you. And the other thing that you did for me was you made me realize that I do have what it takes to do what I want to do. And that I'll be forever grateful.
Sure.
So it was a great experience.
Oh, awesome. So tell me this. So confidence is what you were able to gain in terms of your understanding of the value you have that you bring to your own life. How is that applicable today? right? How do you use what you learned today in your work?
I don't know if this is going to make sense. It's a feeling. It's a feeling of I guess empowerment. So it's a feeling of, yes, I can do this. Even on you're having a bad day, you're having a tired day, I can do this. I can do this. And sometimes too, people, you know, they're having a bad day, or they're not having an empowered day. And then they feel like, oh, I can't do this. But no, you're just tired. Go to bed and wake up the next day and get back on your game. So it really is a feeling of empowerment that you bring into your daily life.
Yeah, I love that advice. I think that's huge, because I'm the one who keeps moving forward and I don't stop myself, right? Even when I'm not being as productive. And my husband always tells me, just stop, just stop. Just stop, right? So that's really, really, really good advice, because you'll come into the awareness that you get your time back. It's just your body, the universe, God telling you, I need to replenish you. And when you get up, I will guarantee you, I'll give you your time back.
Yep.
I love
Yep.
that. I love that. Good advice. So as you think about what you do, Mona, what is the most important skill set you believe you have that you bring to the work that you do?
I'm going to say there's two. A quirky way of looking at things. I like to take things to the edge, and also perseverance. I never give up. Never give up. My son actually says that he'll be getting his coffee in the morning and he'll be like, my name is Jonathan Andre and I never give up. And I'm like, oh my God, turn off the Tony Robbins, please. It is what you need, and what I value, what has helped me, what has always pushed me.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. You write about your book actually is Superwoman, a funny and reflective look at single motherhood that's going to be coming out shortly. It is on pre-order now. So let's talk about that. You were a single mother for a while. You woke up one day when you had an infant and a toddler, your first two children. You have a total of four.
Yep.
Your first two children. And you obviously did what many women who are single mothers did. They looked at their mate and said, I don't think you can go with me because you can't bring value. Tell me what that feeling is like from the perspective of, let's talk first, Mona, to the mother that is in that relationship, that she is struggling with herself, her spouse, and or her boyfriend that she has children with, and the child, and trying to keep that unit together even though it's not working.
Okay. Oh, do you have an hour? So I remember I was young. I was 24 years old, and I would struggle with myself. I would have this conversation of, I don't love him. I have to love him. I have children with him. So it was this constant struggle. And then one day I realized that nope, this is dragging me down. This is not, there's a story actually. The day that I finally went like this was when he asked for $20 to go out, and it was my last $20. I needed diapers, I needed formula, baby formula, because my youngest daughter at the time was almost a newborn. And then I find out that he wanted it to get into the club, and then I find out that it was free for him because it was his friend's father's gig. So that's when I thought, okay, that's it. And I took everything he owned and threw it outside on the front lawn, everything. And it was raining too. Didn't care. So getting out of what do I do and actually doing it is the biggest step. it's the hardest step. Breaking up, it's really hard. Even if you're in a bad relationship, it's really difficult. But then what happened was I flowered, I bloomed. That was the first step of, I guess, empowerment. And I didn't even know the word empowerment at the time. I just felt like I was blossoming. I was making my own decisions. I was not going to let the world mess me up again like that. So does that answer your question? That
Yeah,
was my...
I wish you kept going.
It's in the book.
Because there was something about that was inspiring, right? There was something about that I could feel from your energy of self-empowerment. I could feel it too. And for so many people out there that have that, I should go, but I should stay. I should go, I should stay, knowing that it cannot serve them moving forward. So let's talk about the person who has left. And now they're trying to raise they're trying to get their own footing. Plus they have 2 children. I mean, for you were a single parent with an infant and a toddler and had made the decision that I'm leaving this relationship. So now you left. Now what do you do?
Yeah, that was, so I remember after I threw everything out, I talked to the ceiling that night, and I remember thinking, this is not where I wanted to be. Oh my God, a single mom. Like, oh my goodness. And then the first thing I needed to do to make sure that I didn't slip back was we were renting a house and I needed to get his name off the lease. So I'm sitting in his office, actually the landlord's office. And I remember being so scared and so like, what if he says, no, you're a single mother, you have to move, like you're not going to be able to afford the rent, even though I was the only one paying the bills anyways. And I remember as he was walking towards me, I was sitting down, I was wearing high heels, and I'm not like a super tall person, but if I'm wearing heels, like, whatever. And I remember standing up at a precise moment so that I towered over him. And I remember him feeling very nervous, like him kind of like this nervous laugh, like, oh, hello. And because I knew I was leaving there with the lease in my name. I was not getting, any changes. That's what I wanted. And that's when I knew that whatever I wanted in this world is up to me. I'm the only one that can stand in my way. I'm the only one that can get it. So that was another moment. And it was, I think, a week after I had put his stuff out on the front lawn.
So do you think it was the fact that, what was it? Let me ask you this, because what I want to figure out is, what was that one thing for you that gave you the confidence to say, I'm done, number one, and number two, I need to get his name off the lease, and I'm not leaving your office until I do. What was that thing, right, that came over you in that moment after being so vulnerable in the past?
Right. I think that's a part of motherhood. I think when I realized that he took my last $20 that was supposed to feed my baby and lied about it, that's when I thought, there's no way. Like if I wasn't with him, I would have had that $20. I would have bought, formula, and life would have gone on and whatever. But it was a matter of protecting my kids, I think, at that time. I think that's what was I'm going to call it my kick in the ass. Oh. And then I just had to keep up. Like I could not go back. I could not take a step backwards.
Oh, wow. Powerful. One last question. Man, it's just so amazingly interesting to talk to you about your children and you taking ownership of your life and understanding your role in their life as a mother and what you had to do for them, and how nothing was going to come between you and them after you recognize that he would not honor you nor his own children. And just that whole piece. Is that the core of the book Superwoman, a funny and reflective look at single motherhood, is how you were able to do it and you inspire others to do it? Tell me a little bit about the book, the premise of the book, and what people will walk away with after having read the book.
So it shares my story and the different things that I've gone in a quirky, like the title says, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's reflective. And I also interviewed other single moms. And so I have chapters in there that, gives readers a glimpse into the lives of others. And my whole purpose of writing that book is I wanted to share with women that, yes, you're a mother, and that's important, but you're still you. You can't. So one of my mistakes, I think, throughout most of my life was that I defined myself as a single mother. You can be both. You can be a mom and you can still have dreams, and you can be a mom and be focusing on your kids only too. It's whatever. Don't listen to what society says. You can do whatever you want to, and also your purpose is going to change. Maybe for a few years that's all you want to think about, and just do a day job or whatever. But then at another time in your life, you're also going to be able to focus on you, because your kids do grow up, and what's left is it's you, right? You always have you, and that's what you need to keep in mind.
Oh, I love that. Mona Andre, she is the author of Superwoman, a funny and reflective look at single motherhood. It is on pre-order now. You can visit her website. Can they go to their website and be able to get a link to the pre-order, or tell folks where they need to go to pre-order the book?
So you can Google it on, Google it, look for it on Amazon. It's on Amazon. It's also actually on my publisher's website, Kinrin Press, but you can go to my blog, which is moxiedude.com, and it's there too. There's a link there that you could it takes you to Amazon.
Okay, awesome. And Mona, as always, I have enjoyed talking with you. You're such an inspiration, going from employee to entrepreneur, writing books, signing book deals, ghostwriting, and also, of course, speaking about being a single mother and how you can take ownership and control over your life. Thank you for joining me. I have totally enjoyed this conversation.
Always a pleasure, truly.